Okay.
$99. These women on the panel have bastardized individualism. You can't have individualism without accepting personal accountability. If you want to do of, then you must accept that marriageable men will disqualify you from relationships.
Who says I want to get married to a man?
You want to get married to a porpoise? What?
Is that even legal?
You said yes to Dave when he said like you want to have a
like
family someday.
Yeah, but who said it would be with a man though?
So you go both ways?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but like that's
it might
crazy.
disqualify you from women too.
I don't think so.
You think there's no women that would have an issue, bi women that have an issue with your past work?
I think
I mean, the
significantly
girls,
less. It's probably less likely.
It's maybe a little less, but I feel like a lot of
the
people, men and women.
Ladies, hit my line.
What?
No, I think the fact that she's into women makes her the exception to the rule, but the exception still doesn't make the rule.
Mike Davis donated $100.
Mike Davis!
Oh.
Yo, Brian, Myron Gaines blew some
I already
smoke
addressed
saying
it.
you're in it for the money and ain't really about this life. Are you gonna be true to form and take it like a beta male?
Oh,
Are you gonna return some smoke?
I mean, I kind of already addressed it. I spent way too long on it on
But
the
I
last
applaud
episode.
you for standing up for yourself. We were really proud of you for that.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I mean, I don't really like engaging in like any beef or drama. I try to avoid it. So, I mean, I responded. I don't think I was overly aggressive with it. I just stated my views. I said I was going to do a more thorough response because, I mean, I just heard, like, it was the day before the show that I heard him kind of talking trash or whatever. So I didn't really properly formulate my response to it, but I spent a solid 20 minutes on the previous show talking about it, so not going to really talk about it tonight.
Would you ever debate Myron?
On like the disagreements that me
No, a boxing match.
Sure. Or like any
I
other
mean,
like
Myron's
topics.
like
I'm
taller
kidding,
than me. He has more reach. He's like, it
Brian,
wouldn't.
I'm kidding. It's fine.
No, I wouldn't. No, I don't. Okay. What was the question? Sorry.
Oh, just if
the
you'd ever
boxing
like.
thing derailed it.
No, I was gonna say like, would you ever debate Myron on anything?
Yeah, sure. I disagree with him on stuff, and I mean, I certainly disagree with him on kind of the recent drama between me and. It's not even drama. It's just like people were asking him, he responded. But anyways, look, I'm not going to get into it. If you can see my previous response, maybe I'll address it more thoroughly in a future episode. But I can't. That's Mike Davis, by the way. I'm not gonna get more into it on tonight's show. But good to see you in the chat, Mike Davis. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So where were we? I forgot what were we on? I forgot.
You were surprised that like women would like still date her or whatever, even though she.
I'm not surprised that there are women who would date her. Or men that would date you. What I've always been trying to say is, for the majority of people, what I would say, whether they're man or woman, most people don't want to date someone who's a prostitute.
Well, I would date somebody like that, so I'm saying.
I think you're missing. I think you're just not trying to listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there's zero people that, there's people that would date you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for the majority of people don't want to date a prostitute.
I heard that.
Do you disagree with that? It seems like you want to push back and say no.
I said yes.
99% of people want to date prostitutes.
I disagreed like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Within the span of when you asked me the first time.
Okay.
But I'm saying now, if a girl is doing OnlyFans or is a legal escort at the Bunny Ranch or whatever, and I'm into her or whatever, we could be dating. And then what?
A girl who comes to visit you at your
No,
place
I'm
of
saying
work
a coworker, like a person I work with. I'm saying
do you think
an individual that does only OnlyFans. I'm saying, say I meet a girl that only does OnlyFans.
Would she date you? Is that?
And we date.
Hit it off.
Yeah, we hit it off. Yeah,
I mean, it could happen.
We could get married. That's what I'm saying. That'd be perfect for me.
I don't disagree with your statement at all.
But it's just
I don't disagree with your statement at all.
That men around,
You're
like
just saying
all
you don't
men
think it's
around
common.
don't
What's
care
that?
You're just saying you don't
do escort or sex work, you know?
You're just saying you don't
That's
think
just
it's
what you're
common. Like
saying.
most women wouldn't be cool with it.
I think most women and most men would prefer to not date someone who's been involved
If
with
you're talking
prostitution.
about like a queer woman, I actually think she wouldn't care if she was an escort with mostly male clients. She might be jealous or not like if you were like servicing other women.
But the thing is that
if
I
she's
would be
an
dating
insane
another. I
progressive,
would be
yeah,
dating
it's less
another sex
likely,
worker.
what does sexuality have to do with political affiliation?
Because we know what progressives think about that. Okay, like that's really not.
Like being okay with gay people, or what do you mean?
No, that's not. I didn't
my
say
God.
gay people.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I know the road you're going.
I'm
And
asking what you
Just ask
mean.
what you meant.
I don't know what you mean.
Sorry, repeat that.
You were saying like we know what progressives think, and I was just making
Yeah,
a
we know
comment
what
about
progressives
sexuality.
are pushing for. We know what they're pushing for. They're pushing for the normalization of sex work. That's what you guys are trying to do right now. So you say, yeah, a queer person or somebody that's like more progressive, yeah. That's like the same people. Yeah, go for it. Go with a progressive person if you want to, but most men in general aren't okay dating a sex worker. That is not an opinion, it's a fact.
Oh, it's an opinion, I feel like.
No, it's
It's
a
not an
fact.
I
opinion.
feel like it's an opinion.
You feel like it's an opinion, but it's a fact.
And
Look it
you
up.
feel like it's a fact.
Opinion or a fact?
So
feel like it's a
don't.
No, there is no
And we can
feeling
agree
like
to
it's a
disagree.
fact. Do you know what a
Go
fact
ask
is?
people, okay?
Yeah,
Facts
but
don't care
we-
about your feelings.
Okay, define what a fact is then.
How are you?
she's
Where
saying
are you
that
getting
she
your
doesn't
facts
think
from?
that it's-
Pull
yeah,
up the
where are
facts
your
then, real
facts?
quick. All you
Wikipedia?
pull up the facts.
For me right now?
I don't know
I
if
don't
they've
think stats
done a
exist.
study on this.
No, exactly,
That's
because you
nothing
can't say that it's a
right.
fact if you don't have the backup.
And
for
also,
it.
I wanted to add.
No, I don't need a study to be done and look up into the sky and know that the sky is blue.
It's just
Yes,
talking.
but you're talking about somebody that isn't going to be with a sex worker. How are you going to tell two different men if they're going to be with a sex worker or not? That's not up to you to decide or for you to even assume that they wouldn't pick sex workers.
I think it's pretty easy to make the assumption that most people would not want to date a prostitute.
and
Do you think
that
that's a good
is people
preference?
that are
Have what?
small minds like you.
How's it small-minded?
Because
That's
it's
big-
like
How
That's
is that
big
not
brain.
small-minded
That's
to go
big.
and sell your body in a brothel?
that's how you feel and that's how you think,
It's
and not
not about
everybody's
how I
gonna
feel.
think that
What about
way.
people
But,
that
okay,
are with
you
their
keep-
are in a relationship and they both do things like that together? What
Oh,
about
you
that?
guys, you guys are like,
Go
stop. You guys are missing the point. I've repeatedly said over and over again, I'm not saying that it will be impossible for you to find a person to date you. I'm not saying that every single person on the planet would not date a prostitute. I am saying most. So when I'm saying most, I'm saying more than 50%. It could be 51%. It may very well be that 49% of people would date you. What I'm saying is most. So at bare minimum, 51%, I would say the majority of people would not date a prostitute.
Can I?
And I would say it's 50-50.
But do you think, wait, really quick?
You would say it's 50, exactly
Yeah.
50-50, exactly 50-50.
I would say it's 50-50.
Wow.
And
Can
that
I
is my
say-
opinion. Right?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I think a lot of people would say that they wouldn't, but if they made that connection,
they would.
I mean, I think it.
I mean, go ahead.
No, you can
No.
say what you
No,
gotta
go ahead.
say.
Finish your
I wanna
statement.
hear
Finish
it.
your statement. Go ahead.
I want to play off with what you're gonna say, so I want you
No,
to
finish
say.
you were in the middle. Go ahead.
I
Complete your.
lost my train of thought now.
Because
You were saying that if the connection was there, then
Yeah,
somebody would
I
date.
think it would play a role in.
That still doesn't make the majority. Nor the 50%. That means
No, I'm not
maybe
saying
if-
that.
if-
I don't know. I don't know any statistics. I don't know that. But I'm saying I think if you did a study, I think more people would say that they wouldn't than
Here.
would
Can
be
you
I've-
just
real.
admit
Stop.
that?
I have a clarifying question that might. Let's see. How tall is your boyfriend?
6'2",
How tall are you?
5'7".
You're 5'7", he's 6'2". Would you date a guy who's shorter than you?
I would.
You would?
I would.
Really?
If the connection was there,
Oh
I
my
would.
God, that's
Stop
such
the
cap.
cap.
Okay.
It's not.
Wait, do you think women
How are
don't
you
date
gonna
men
tell
shorter than
me?
them?
like for real,
I
Brian?
think there needs to be, like, of course we can say, like, if the connection is. I don't even know what that really
like,
means.
if you
He's saying that you could think that you weren't
There
going to,
needs
and then you meet
be,
one you fall in love.
Like most people are not going to give a person a chance for a supposed connection to even develop, because the primary thing people are going to screen on is there just a base level of physical attraction. That's the first step. Then a connection can develop. However, it's unless you're like withholding the fact that you guys are prostitutes and playing these dudes and waiting until months into the relationship before revealing you're a prostitute. If you're upfront with the fact that you're a prostitute, and you should with romantic partners, there's not going to be the ability for a connection to develop because most men's standard is to not date a prostitute.
Okay, but
you seem like a very pleasant person. However, you're a prostitute. That's an immediate no-go. Otherwise, I think you're an attractive girl and you have a very pleasant personality. But because you're involved in sex work, it's an immediate disqualifier. It's a deal breaker. There's no scenario, even though you seem like, honestly, you're one of the most pleasant women we've ever had on the show. You're an attractive girl. I just would, and I'm not saying this to be mean or anything, I wouldn't date you because of the work that you're involved with. And that's the end of the story. In the same way that there's plenty of women who don't want to date me because I've got this ridiculous podcast and I'm out there on the internet. I don't object to women not wanting to date me because I'm out there and I have, maybe controversial opinions. I think that's fine.
But I'm not going to say here.
Do you think it's a better preference for people to immediately disqualify somebody from dating them just because they do sex work? Do you think that's a good thing?
There's a lot of fish in the pool, and yes, I think in the same way that women disqualify men very quickly for a myriad of reasons. Yes, sex work is a perfectly valid immediate disqualifier.
Yeah, I'm not saying whether or not people are empowered to do that. Obviously you can do that, but I'm asking, like, would you say that people ought to be doing that?
They ought to be doing that. If I were I were to advise men, if I were to advise my audience who are watching, if I were to advise my son, if I were to advise my male friends, or just men in general, yes, I would strongly recommend not dating prostitutes. Like, it's crazy.
Common sense here.
I just was trying to see what you were.
I taught you nothing. I have given you all the ammunition you need to shoot down anyone who says sex work or high body counts are okay and why most people would reject someone who lives that life. Educate them on their genital herpes.
What?
Just because I think they're saying, like, they know most people probably wouldn't, but they wouldn't want to date the people who would disqualify them on that basis anyway, and they'd keep looking. No?
Sorry, what? Could you repeat that? Sorry, I was reading the chat.
It's okay. I just think that all they were saying is that it's valid for people to have those preferences, but they're not interested in dating people with those preferences.
That's totally
anyway.
Fine.
Yeah,
but that's
I think
totally
that's all
fine.
they were saying.
But that's not what he was saying.
She called it small-minded.
Well, what he was saying is just that most people wouldn't.
Yeah.
Which
he's probably right, but like what you were saying is that if they got to know a sex worker, like they might go in with that bias, but then if they actually had the opportunity to, for whatever reason, to get to know a sex worker, they could fall for one. I agree with you. I think it's possible.
That infatuation would last, 3 months before their objection to a prostitute's work would become a roadblock.
I don't think they would act on it. I think they would like, oh shit, I'm in love with the stripper, but it doesn't change the fact that like I don't see this as compatible with my life.
Maybe
I don't see this as compatible with my life or whatever, so I'm not going to date her. But that's different than
I think we're
not
all
falling for them
confusing
at
the
all.
word connection with infatuation. A guy can be infatuated with a woman who does sex work for a while, but does that last into a real relationship that will end in marriage? No. Like, their objection to her line of work will eventually end that relationship.
Do you guys know anyone at the Bunny Ranch who is like a sex worker at the Bunny Ranch and married?
Yes. There's plenty of women that are married at the
But we just can't disclose.
Do you think they're in like
I'm
unhappy
saying
marriages?
about men who are already uncomfortable with dating women in that line of work.
Then they just shouldn't.
Even if they end up...
Turn your phone over.
She's saying they're not small-minded because she called those men small-minded and they're not. And she's trying to explain
your
why.
preference is your preference, but just if you don't want to, then just don't.
What we're saying is that most men would not, and you guys aren't willing to admit that.
I was speaking.
Can you just admit that?
I think we're injecting nuance into it because you're talking about like. I think we're just injecting nuance into it because you're talking about a descriptive claim, right? Observations about the world. It's probably true that most people don't want to date a sex worker. I agree with you.
Okay, thank you.
We never disagreed with that.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that it's possible. There's other variables that you're not considering that could change that. And what the preferences that people express are different than their actions. And I'm saying that I think that there's plenty of people, even though they say that would immediately disqualify it, I think there's more people than you guys are willing to admit that would change their mind if they actually met a sex worker that they happen to be connected with.
But the main question we were starting from here is if we would...
Okay, we're looping. Okay.
Like, we completely derailed, but that was the main question.
That's fine.